Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the BGL Online Summit. This is a virtual event showcasing some of our RegTech 2026 sponsors. If you don't know who I am, I'm Lily Williams and I'm the Partnerships Manager at BGL, and today I'm going to be your host. Today's session, part of our BGL Online Summit, it's a series of webinars that we've been running across the last 3 weeks. We're currently in our third week of the online summit, and today's session, Xero Partner Hub as the central connected practice experience, is co-hosted by Xero. I'm pleased to introduce today's presenter, Lainey, Partner Consultant at Xero. Xero is a cloud-based accounting platform that helps small businesses, accountants, and bookkeepers manage core financial tasks like invoicing, bank reconciliation, bills, and cash flow in one place. Its purpose is to make life better for people in small businesses, their advisors, and communities. Before we get started, I will just run through some quick housekeeping notes. The session is recorded, so if you do need to jump off early or if you miss anything, you'll find a copy of the webinar on our YouTube channel, and we'll also send a copy of the webinar and the slides into your inbox. The Q&A function is open today. So in your Zoom toolbar, you'll see Q&A. Any questions you have for the Xero team along the way, pop them in here and we'll have someone answer those for you. Lainey, I'll hand it over to you to kick things off.
Thank you so much, Lily, and welcome everyone. Today, we're going to look at how Xero can support a more connected practice and connected workflow. My name is Lainey. Thank you, Lily, for introducing me. I'm a solutions consultant here at Xero, but I'm also an accountant, and I worked in accounting for a very long time. So I'm approaching today's session from a practitioner's perspective. What information do you need to see? Where does the work move next? And how this process can be made easier for you and your teams. So I'll be taking you through the session and all the live demonstrations. I have Fiona, Andrea, and Bella with me supporting and monitoring the Q&A. And rather than taking you through a long list of disconnected features, we'll follow the work from start to finish, practice level through compliant work papers, reporting and tax, and we're going to finish up with Work Papers Plus. And this is for those practices that their compliance needs are a little bit more complex. The aim is that you leave here with a clear picture of what a connected workflow in Xero looks like today and what could become possible as your practice grows. So I also have a few little housekeeping options for you. Before we begin, please take a moment right now. Close all of those applications and windows you do not need open. We are on a webinar and you are going to get a recording. So this is your time to get the best experience without any distractions. We don't want those notifications or interruptions coming up on the way through. As Lily mentioned, we do have the Q&A function open, but the chat is closed. So please submit your questions on the way through. Fiona, Andrea, and Bella will monitor that. Group all similar questions together as we go. Answer some of them on the way through, and we'll go through a lot of the questions live with you at the end. So we can really give you a really detailed answer about what you need, and everyone can focus on the webinar as it happens. And last but not least, the session is being recorded and it will be shared directly with you via email this week, as well as being uploaded onto the YouTube channel in the coming days. So that means you can stay focused on our walkthrough so you can then revisit any sections after the fact. Before we jump in, Fiona, would you like to raise our poll?
Yes, doing it right now, Lainey.
Thank you. Got a question for everybody. What are you using now for your work papers? Are you using work papers by BGL? Are you using classic Xero work papers? Maybe you're an active or still in Excel land. I know I certainly was. What do you use in practice, Fee?
Always Excel, funnily enough, never use an actual work papers product. So in just over the 11 years that I worked in practice, everywhere I worked, Excel every time.
It's definitely the most common one. We've got
What
about 50% of the people have voted. Anyone else keen?
what about you, Lainey? What did you use?
I started with some How Now Excel work papers
Yeah.
and moved into Xero work papers as we progressed. Uh, That was the classic Xero work papers. I'm very excited having the new work papers now that I work at
Same.
Xero.
100% agree with that.
All right, shall we share?
Yep. Let's end the poll now and share results.
Oh, looks like, from what I can see, most people are in your ball, Fiona. 50% of people are on Excel, and a few people scattered around other platforms, whether it's Active or Xero Work Papers and some others. Big difference. Hopefully we can show you today what that Excel version looks like in a connected workflow in Xero.
Excellent. Thanks, Letty.
Thank you. So let's now have a look at what we have on the agenda today. To show you how the workflow connects in practice, we're going to follow it through from that practice level all the way through compliance and those additional capabilities. So there's 4 key parts. First, we'll start with that practice level visibility in the Xero Partner Hub. That's clients, staff, the work that needs the attention. Second, we're going to move into work papers, what we're all here to see today, and see how the practice level view becomes structured annual compliance with a connected workflow. Connected workflow is nothing though without moving through our third point, which is reporting and tax. So the information comes straight through rather than stopping at a standalone work paper. And finally, we'll explore Work Papers Plus, all of the additional features that can provide more depth, control, and automation as the compliance work becomes more complex. So let's not take any more of your time. Let's start with the practice experience and Xero Partner Hub. So it's good to pause here and understand that Xero has been evolving our practice tools that accountants and bookkeepers use to manage their practices. And that evolution has been shaped directly by your feedback, and it comes from about how practices want to use their work, how they manage their access, and how they do that all in one place. Partner Hub is the next step in that work, a more connected practice that brings together the client record, staff permissions, and practice activity together. And that's really important context because not every practice will use Partner Hub yet. The rollout for Australian practices actually starts from the 1st of September, though some of you may already have access in the early access rollout. So as we move through our demonstration today, think of the Partner Hub as a new starting point for the practice workflow. It's designed to replace the need to move between the older practice tools and give you and your team one connected place to orient yourselves before you even start some work. The key idea is that the practice view, the client record, staff access all work seamlessly together. And before I show you the live product, let's watch a short video on the Xero Partner Hub. It highlights the unified navigation, a new homepage focused on what matters most, Jax as your AI finance partner, and connected compliance through Tax Manager and Work Papers. The key message is simple. Bring everything together so you get it all right first and work faster.
Built with input from over 9,000 accounting partners. Introducing Xero Partner Hub, one home for all your tools and a homepage that gives you a clear view of the information that matters most, so you can prioritise at a glance. When your data flows together, so does your thinking. Centralised records give you one connected view across every client and your practice, updated in real time, so you always know what needs attention and can move more smoothly through your tasks. Make the homepage yours. Add, remove and reorder widgets until your view works the way you do, so you see what matters most and can act on it quickly. See an overview of clients, bank reconciliation, bank feed status, and more at a glance, as well as any Xero compliance and practice tools you use. Use new work papers and new tax manager for a more streamlined workflow with a view of ready-to-start income tax returns from the ATO and faster resolution of ITR variances. And ask Jax, your AI finance partner, to summarise key client information and get insights across all your clients right on the homepage. All your tools in one place. The Xero Partner Hub, helping you prioritise and get to the right work faster.
I definitely couldn't have said all of that in 1 minute, that is for sure. We've got some lovely marketing teams that put together our videos for us, but I know you're actually here to see the product. So I want to show you that. I'm going to show you what the Xero Partner Hub is and how to orient yourself within the practice tools. And then we'll follow one client through the whole workflow and see how you access their records and their practice and how all the activity works together. I'm going to give you that visibility, the staff access, and how you can look at that from a practice oversight all the way down through the individual compliance workflows. So let's jump into the product. Welcome everybody to the Xero Partner Hub. So you might find this a little bit familiar. It's a little bit like your Xero Blue file. Each user logs into their own practice level view. So I'm starting here because this is where every team member can orient themselves before they open even a single job. From the navigation menu, the team can see how they move between the clients, their insights, jobs, work papers, tax. The whole lot are all here in one place. The exact options actually depending on your practice and your needs. So if you don't have practice management, you may not have the jobs tab. You may just be a bookkeeper and you're using tax and work papers together. We've also inbuilt JAX straight into our practice tools, and it's available now, and it can help with practice-wide questions and client summaries. Just like, hey, who's got the most revenue from last quarter? Really quick pieces of information to move through. For practices that use Practice Manager at the moment, your global search function is still available, sitting there right on the top. So you can easily search for the jobs, clients, contacts, all the handy information really, really quickly. We don't want to take anything away from you. We just want to give you a seamless, integrated place to work from. But what you may have noticed is at the moment, everything is now navy blue. Gone is green for practice management and tax. Everything for your practice is navy. Everything for your clients is the Xero blue color. But the most powerful part is your homepage. It's what work you need to focus on, what needs attention. And the view is designed to help each individual person see their clients, their jobs, their practice activity that's most relevant to them rather than starting from a blank page. So just like in your Xero Blue homepage, you can edit, you can customize, you can add widgets. I might add my activity statements and even my organizations to be able to see what I have going, what I need to do, what's approved and ready to go out, or maybe just look at those Xero files I haven't touched in quite a number of years. Some of the widgets are still rolling out, so not every Australian practice has all of the same widgets on the same day. The experience will continue to develop as the Partner Hub rolls out more broadly, though keep an eye out for the beta logo so you know what's being developed, how you can give feedback, and what that looks like. So now I want to take you through what a client looks like within the Xero Partner Hub and how we do start that workflow as we go through. So I'm going to go to my Clients tab, which gives me the oversight of all of my client records. My favorite addition here is the columns. I can easily add, remove columns that are useful to me, what I need to see, maybe my unreconciled items to follow up those clients that aren't quite up to date with their work. But my favorite is definitely the organization name. It means I can really easily see the client's Xero organization name along with my practice name, their legal entity name, which often differs. So we're actually going to look at Warren and Burris today, and they're a company, but they call themselves messy farms. So it's quite hard for my staff to find their client files sometimes. We've got easy access to their Xero file, and they will actually open up in a new tab for us directly. Or we can jump straight onto their client record. This is where all of their information lives in one place for this client. We have their details, their tax return information, the partner and manager. Thank you, Fiona, for managing my partner for me. Their relationships and the groupings. So all the information's in one place for that client. But not only that, we have our jobs, our tax returns, and even our staff access. This means we can manage all of our staff access directly from either the client or from our practice and staff tab in bulk. So I can bulk give access or remove access to all staff or to a specific client in a few clicks. This means that we take all of this information and put it all the way through all of our connected tools within the Xero Partner Hub without having to manage them separately or for different employees. So we come back to our homepage, we have one connected visibility. We've got everything on who's working on what, from clients to access. I want to pause and recap here on what actually is the Partner Hub and how does it fit in. It really is about that connected view for all of your clients. It's a starting point and a place to orient yourself around those clients, staff, and practice activity before you open a job. The navigation brings together all of the practice tools in one place, a homepage that can be tailored to surface that daily activity or insights that matter most to the practice and to the user. We also saw the client access and staff access permissions that sit within the staff in the same practice in the same context. And that matters because a person who's assigned to work can access the relevant client, all of their information, their work papers and tax returns without having to jump between screens. The key takeaway is simple. Partner Hub provides a practice level context, surfaces the work that needs attention, and connects the right people to the right client work to start their compliance. So that's a Partner Hub. It provides a practice level context, but we want to move forward and see how all of that connects into work papers. And it's where that context becomes structured compliance. I'm going to show you how the workflow goes for Warren and Burroughs from beginning to end, following the trial balance, work paper substantiation, and review of handoffs. I'm going to focus on the practical annual compliance work, giving the team clearer starting points, helping them focus on the accounts that need attention, and keeping work connected to their client Xero data and report codes. But before I open the product, it's worth calling out what actually makes the workflow efficient. The key is that the data does the heavy lifting. Your Xero client data seamlessly goes from your books to your work papers, through financials and tax. The ledger is pulled through automatically when the pack is created. So once it's reconciled, you export straight to the tax return and financials with no rekeying data. That's the big one. And everything from the job stays together. Essential compliance worksheets and the working trial balance, plus all the supporting evidence, notes, calculations, review stages, sign-offs, all in one place. Clear visibility across the team. And there's no heavy setup. Your practice settings carry all the way through from your Partner Hub, your clients' Xero organizations, that staff and permissions, all there from the start. No separate lists or access controls to manage. So with that in mind, let's actually jump into the product and see what you'd like to see. We'll start from our Partner Hub that we already had. And all we're going to do is go straight into our Work Papers tab. From here, I can take you through how a preparer starts a job, how we hand it off, and what that looks like. But you need to understand some settings first to know where the real power comes from. So I have my overall screen, but I'm going to come up to my little cog on the top right that shows me my work paper templates. That's where I can see all of what used to be my tabs in my spreadsheet, how they're mapped to my Xero report codes, and very specifically down to each line item. So I can see prepayments here has been excluded because there's a separate prepayments work paper. But not only that, it has individual checklists. Here at Xero, we give you some lovely standards, but not every practice is the same. You may choose to edit and change these as much as you like. And if you really make a mistake, you can always just revert to the system templates. And every work paper also has the ability to import standard spreadsheets. So if you've got beautiful, complex work papers in your spreadsheets now, you can actually import them in and attach them directly to this information. So then we connect it directly to the trial balance and all of those accounts that make sense. But I'm not here to forget, we do also have tax templates. And this is how all of those report codes go straight through into your tax returns. Right now we're looking at a company, so how those reports and those codes all go through into a company tax return. But we are here to look at the work papers themselves, so let's start one from scratch. I'm going to create a new work paper pack, and it's connected directly to my client record. So I can see I have Warren & Burroughs Proprietary Limited for 2026. I'm doing the full financial year. I think I'm going to give myself to the end of the month to prepare it. And it's pulled through myself as the preparer because I'm the manager on this client. We give you two options for reviewer and final reviewer. Fiona, I think you're going to be my partner today. And I have the option then for accruals and cash basis, depending on what my client's needs are. Generating the work paper pack pulls through the financial data directly from my client's file into my new work paper, as well as all of the same staff access that I had through the Xero Partner Hub. And what we're greeted with initially is pretty similar to what you probably have in your Excel at the moment. We have different tabs that show us what work we need to do. We have some grayed out, which means I have no financial data either this year or in the 2 previous financial years. So I can really clearly see, cool, I had no prepayments last year. It's not applicable for me, but I haven't started any of my other work. But this is only one way of looking at my information. The other is the working trial balance. This is the big one. We have all of our accounts, how they're mapped to both our work paper, our financials, and our tax returns. Last year balance, current year balance, any change for materiality purposes, supporting information, the ability to add journals directly onto those accounts, and any adjusted balance before I post that information down. So I really have the overall view of what's going on for that client straight away. But I don't really like a trial balance. For me, I prefer to have a look at my balance sheet or my profit and loss separately. So we give you those options as well, just to see what you want to work on when you want to work. I'm a big believer of starting on my balance sheet first. So that's how I always start my job. But I do want to show you how this all works, how it goes through, what you need to do. And you and I all know that the first thing you need to do is have all the substantiation. Make sure your bank is reconciled. And to do that, I'm going to go to my Documents tab. And I can add files directly into here. And I have a drag and drop. So I've got all of my documents ready to go. I can drag them in and attach all those documents straight into my work papers in bulk. This was my favorite feature when I got shown it. So now from here, I can actually attach these documents directly to the work papers and the accounts that they relate to. So something like my hire purchase agreement, I can actually attach to my non-current liabilities and to my finance, as well as to, say, my intangibles, because I know there's some borrowing costs involved there. So I can really clearly see that that same document is actually attached to 2 work papers. So I don't have to reattach and upload every time there's more information coming through. But what does that mean for my work paper? Let's actually have a look at our intangibles and pull up what that is. So from the intangibles, I've got my borrowing costs and those accounts. The figures that have come through, I've got my attachment directly attached. And then I have that option for spreadsheet. So I can open up that spreadsheet column. If at a practice level I set a template, there'd be a lovely piece of information here that I could just fill out. Or I could import a spreadsheet. Or as I've done, I actually have a spreadsheet built outside and I can just copy and paste it in. So I have all of my information, my substantiation, and everything that goes along with it directly connected to my accounts. So for 2026, I want to make sure I've got my supporting documentation, which I've done. And I've ensured that my non-current assets here are listed long-term. That's correct. So I'm going to add a new note now down at the bottom. This one's just a note for my borrowing cost. So no new assets in 2026. And then I can publish that note. Something I want to point out here is that all documents and notes have the ability to roll forward. So I can mark these as permanent for my work paper. So next year when I pick it up, I don't have to do it again. It's going to be sitting there waiting for me, specifically for something like my hire purchase agreement that I really don't want to have to attach again year after year for all 7 years that it's going through. Makes my life nice and simple as I go through my work papers. So the preparer's work becomes quite simple. We've got the accounts, we've got our substantiation, our notes, a reviewer can reply to them. When we're ready to send it to our reviewer, we can update these in bulk as well. So I can select everything, update the status for ready for review, and I can even notify the reviewer that it's ready for review. So now Fiona's going to get an email saying, hey, Lainey's finished Warren and Burroughs. She's all ready for you to go. So the bonus here is if you're still working in that client's file or the client goes in and changes their information, we have a last refreshed date. If the client's information has changed since the last time you refreshed, you actually get warned about it. And if that data does change, this Ready for Review tab will automatically change to rework required. So you have that information really clearly within it, so we know what to touch, what not to touch, and where that lives. And that's a lot. There's a lot of new information in our work papers. And I want to recap what we've seen. We started with a managed list of packs. We could search and archive, keep up to date with our practice view of that organisation. The pack begins with all of our client data and supporting balances, mapped directly with those report codes that are going to flow through into our reporting and tax. We saw 2 different working views, so that working trial balance for our account level analysis, as well as our work papers for structured compliance and review process. We saw a workflow for focus, attention and marking off, showing our inactive and active accounts and what might not be used moving forward. And we also saw our documents, our notes and queries to support the evidence and review process. And we followed that work through towards our notifications, locking and ready to export to tax, which we'll do next. The key message here is Work Papers provides a really practical, connected workspace for your annual financial compliance. It gives the team structure, visibility, without having to rebuild the wheel from the beginning. We don't have to rekey any of that information manually. So now we've seen that compliance work started, prepared and moved towards review. Let's follow it along through to reporting and tax as part of that same connected workflow. This is where the broader value comes in, keeping that connected to reporting and tax so the team doesn't have to repeatedly export, reformat, or re-enter information. And the benefit I want to highlight here is straightforward. Less switching between tools, reduced manual data entry, and more confidence in the numbers when they remain connected. So there are a few important ways that this all stays together. Firstly, it's about the ready to start returns. It's reduced setup. Returns come through directly from the ATO, pre-populated with your client's tax type, tax year, their context. So instead of creating a return manually or searching across separate screens, we have the right lodgements ready to go straight from the beginning. This is a key improvement over our legacy tax return list. Secondly, Tax Manager and the tax widgets on our homepage give you clearer visibility across your compliance work, better filtering, status views, and support for managing notice of assessments. And it's easy to stay up to date on the large volume of obligations to help reduce the risk of work falling through the cracks. So while supporting the delivery on time within budget. Thirdly, work papers, tax, and reporting all leverage the same report code architecture. That shared foundation means information can flow through process with less double handling and less manual data entry, while keeping the underlying work and numbers all aligned. So together, these capabilities are built to support scale and pressure test the compliance season, helping your team move through the work with greater consistency and confidence. To give you a sense of what that looks like, here is Tax Manager. And what you're looking at is a triage view for your year-end workload, bringing all of your returns and obligations together in one place. This is the ready to start returns. Clearer filtering, status, views, and connection back to your work papers so the team can get to the right lodgements faster. My favorite part here is the submission date. All of those early lodges will have all their information at hand and no one will be missed. But what does it look like in practice? Let's actually take a look now at what running a set of financials, pushing that data from work papers into tax looks like, and see how it all flows together. And I'm going to do that straight again from my Partner Hub. As we saw earlier, I actually opened up my Xero file. So I have Messy Farms here opened in a new tab. And I want to use the information within my client Xero file to create those financials. So I'm going to come up to the reporting tab and go to all reports. And our financials actually sit in the advisor tab. This is strictly for you as practitioners. Your clients cannot see it. And it's where you can actually generate a beautiful set of financials. No matter what type of financials you like, they're all up to you based on your templates. So within my set of company financials, I've got a lovely trading statement, my P&L, balance sheet, all of the information you'd expect to be able to run beautiful sets of financials, all based on those report codes. Not only that, we'll pull through your director information, give you your signing labels and everything clean, so your staff don't have to retype this year after year. And once that's done and reviewed, because we know all our numbers are correct in our work papers, we can be confident that all of the information in our financials is clean and consistent because we haven't had to update it. We can publish those financials, give it a little bit of style, a little bit of flair. I am in my miscellaneous expenses, so I'm using my financial statements. I've got some color, my beautiful logo, the option for watermarks or showing and hiding decimals. And I can save and publish that set of financials ready to go. Once it's published, I can easily then export it out into a PDF or send it directly out via Xero Ask into a document pack to get it digitally signed. So if you haven't seen a set of Xero financials before, they're beautiful and professional, just how you would like to see them based on how you prefer to view your financials. That's just one step. We then want to put it into a tax return. So let's take these numbers, go back to our work papers, mark everything off as ready to go. So we're going to be nice and completed. Thank you, Fiona. And we're going to lock our work paper pack so no one can touch it. Our audit trail's set. And we're going to use this little up arrow to export the data. I love the fact that you can export all of the work papers in one go and save this down to your document management. Or if I just wanted to export my notes out, so I wanted to send maybe my client queries, I could send those out via my email, send it to my clients where they used to do them. Or for us, we're going to export to tax. We can review the tax mapping, so how those report codes are going to generate in to our tax mapping. We can preview it, how it's going to show up into our tax return. And when we're ready to go, we can go back and actually just export it directly out into our tax return. Takes a few seconds, pulls the data directly in, and allows us to jump straight into that tax return. So now we have our financial data that's gone from our work papers into our financials and now into our company tax return. And you can see here I've got a blue bubble. That shows me the sales account that's come directly from my work papers. And not only that, it's also pulling through my reconciliation and my franking account information directly into the return. So my staff don't have to key that either. And if you ever want to see where that information came from, you can use these hyperlinks to go straight back into your work papers. So you can double check that information just to make sure you're happy with how everything's going and what that looks like. So because I clicked on sales, it's taken me through to my revenue work paper. That does really put reporting and tax together with the rest of our compliance workflow. And it brings it together into one clearer end-to-end process. Less switching between tools, less manual data entry, and more confidence in the numbers to stay connected right through books, work papers, tax, and reporting. And that connected workflow covers most practices' needs day to day. But some practices do need to go further. And the good news is that workflow can grow with you and your team without breaking the connection. And that's where Work Papers Plus comes in. This is the next step for practices that need to go further without disconnecting that Xero workflow. It's not a completely separate way of working. It builds on the connected work paper experience and adds more capability where practices need more deeper compliance coverage, more standardizations across the team, and more automation for your source documents. And we'll use the next part of today's session to look at three main themes: advanced compliance worksheets, template and pack customization, and that AI-powered control. So before I actually jump into the product, I want to clarify the relationship between Work Papers and Work Papers Plus, because it's easy to misunderstand that it's a completely separate product. Work Papers Plus is Work Papers, just has additional features. It builds on the Work Papers experience that we've just seen, rather than asking your practice to learn a whole different workflow. No starting again here. So the foundations stay the same. The connected Xero data, the work paper packs, the documents and preparation and review process. What changes is the level of capability you have within that same workflow. And there are those three main areas where Plus extends on work papers. Firstly, it adds more depth to the complex compliance work through additional worksheets, structured workspaces for calculations and reconciliations. Second, it provides more control over how your practice works through greater templates, packs, entity and report code mapping customizations. And that's where all of that customization is enabled. And third, it adds the automation from supporting information through AI-powered extraction. So if you already understand work papers, you're not moving to a separate product. When you move to Plus, you're just extending work papers with additional features your practice needs for more depth, control, and automation. So we'll move now into the product, which over 100 practices are actively testing today. And then we're going to go through what's coming next. So I am going to stay in the same environment, but I'm just going to jump into a practice that has Workpapers Plus activated. So I'm going to go into my Bondi Blue Consulting. Easy to change practices as well through our Xero Partner Hub. So if I go into Workpapers within Bondi Blue, I'll go into the same client. So I'm going to go into Warren & Burroughs for 2026. And this is where we see a few new features. So from our working trial balance, you can see I have this little AI data extraction update. This is telling me that the data is actually being read straight from my linked work paper and my bank statement automatically and read that work. So I haven't had to open the bank statement, find the 30th of June, look for the number, type it in. It's done it for me. And I very clearly have a difference here in looking at my current year balance in Xero, and I need to go and fix my bank reconciliation before I can tidy this one up. But we also go deeper than that with the extended work papers. Something that was really exciting to me was my Div 7A. This is where I could identify I had a 2025 Div 7A loan. I could add all of the information in, add my loan repayments. It can automatically calculate my interest for me. I could add new lines like an interest journal or dividend journal. And when I do that, it actually allows me to automatically pull through those figures, create, save, or post a journal directly into the work paper itself. And that means when I'm looking at my working trial balance, I do have that added visibility of seeing my draft journal and those adjusting balances directly from within the file without having to go back into the Xero, run another report, and see what it looks like. But there are a few extra little features in here that I really love. Coming soon from the Documents tab, you'll actually be able to upload everything here and use that AI-powered extraction directly from here. So read the documents and help push that information into your work papers. But the real benefit comes from the setup. This is where your automation flows through from a practice level. So if we go back into my settings, you'll see I have similar options that I had in my normal work papers, but I've got different entity types, the ability to add extras, to add custom work papers for each of my packs. And then if we have a look back through, as we saw earlier, I now have the ability to pick and choose what report codes go where. And that's the ability to customize for your firm and how you want to work. Not only that, I can automatically pull through Xero reports as a practice. So I decide what reports my work papers need automatically. So when I open my work papers, all of the Xero reports, the balance sheets, the budget variances, the debtors, the creditors, come through automatically without me having to go into the file, download, save it, and upload them individually. They'll come through automatically for me. And that's where the real benefit comes. You can set up, customize, and organize all of your work papers for your practice as the product evolves. And what does that really mean? So we come back from our work walkthrough. It's worth stepping back and how it all fits together. What you can do today is already connected workflow, end-to-end practice level visibility in Partner Hub, connected compliance work and work papers, reporting and tax, all in one workflow. What becomes possible next builds on the same foundations rather than replacing it. It advances that compliance worksheet, the templates, the pack customizations, and the AI data extraction with draft work papers. The key point is that as your needs grow, the workflow grows with you and stays connected the whole way through. If that's of interest to you, we'd encourage you to register your interest in WorkPapers Plus so you can be a part of what's coming next. And there is a lot that's coming your way across WorkPapers and WorkPapers Plus. So let's have a quick look at what is coming next. Account level status indicators. And this is coming to both WorkPapers and WorkPapers Plus. And it looks at little indicators, which we have often called Smarties and classic workpapers for those 10% of people that we use in classic workpapers. And this gives you a clear visual if the preparer, the reviewer, and the final reviewer have checked and approved those accounts at a glance, rather than looking at the high-level indicators. Easy to track progress across the pack and make sure nothing gets missed. From there, we're going to go through unresolved queries. Again, coming to both WorkPapers and WorkPapers Plus, it's a clearer visual and indicators of the unresolved queries we can see here by our little red dots and review points, and the ability to filter directly for them. It makes it easy to see at a glance which notes are still outstanding, so the team can focus on what's left to resolve rather than filtering through all of the work papers as a whole. This is my favorite, the ATO integration, coming to WorkPapers Plus. It brings the ATO data straight into WorkPapers. We remove the need to switch between systems, and we automate a lot of the common reconciliations for you. Your tax agent details are populated automatically from Xero Tax, and after a few simple steps to register the software, you connect to your agent, the data flow comes through seamlessly into WorkPapers. And from there, it's easy to identify any amendments that are needed to reconcile GST or income tax payable. And with that data flowing straight into WorkPapers, the reconciliation work becomes much simpler. You can easily identify any amendments that are required, reconcile GST, reconcile your income tax payable without having to jump back and forth between the ATO, your Xero file, your WorkPapers, pulling all of your numbers together. But the biggest benefit in WorkPapers Plus is the comprehensive compliance worksheets. And this is going to be complex calculations and reconciliations across your workpaper. It includes worksheets for things like PAYG, financing and lease schedules, owner's accounts, FBT, capital gains, BAS consolidations. They're all pre-built, integrated directly into your workpaper pack. So recurring client compliance work sits in one single structured workspace rather than spread across multiple spreadsheets and multiple tools. And that's just what's coming really soon. That's not all. It is just the beginning. We have a large number of features expected to land in Xero WorkPapers and Xero WorkPapers Plus in the coming months, from small improvements that make your everyday feel easier, like drag and drop attachments, and the big ticket item, like extending your WorkPapers and tax integrations to more entity types besides just companies, starting with the trusts. And you can actually help us shape what comes next by jumping into Xero product ideas. Fee, what's your favorite? What's coming next?
I'm all about the integration. So the export to the trust tax return will be, I think, a big game changer. When I worked in practice, I worked on so many trust accounts. So I think that would be my absolute favorite. What about you?
I'm definitely keen for the collaboration tab and how we work from all of our practice tools in one place, but probably actually ledger transactional data, just being able to get to the nitty-gritty without having to dive deep into all the transactions as we go.
Agree. That would have been my second choice.
I'm glad we're all on the same page. Accountants are all built from the same cloth most of the time.